Welcome back to Zod's Vendetta. Of course, I am Zod. But besides that, what I want to talk about, like I spoke on a few times, which is the President of the United States and the fact that, you know, the things that's taking place right now has put a black mark, or somewhat of a black mark, on his legacy as a president, just due to the fact of how things are being done. It's not necessarily people aren't necessarily saying that what he's doing is wrong. They're just saying the way he's going about doing it wrong, or what he's allowing to be done is the problem. And let me just dispel rumors off the back. I am not a liberal. I am not libertarian. I am nothing of that nature. I do share conservative views, so I consider myself a conservative, regardless of how anybody takes it. But at the same time, I am one of those people that are willing to call out injustices, and the things that are taking place is extremely not just borderline, but over that little of being unjust, and if simply for the fact that it's just there's a better way to do things. But this is not the video for me to really get into that, because I'm not really on here to criticize the president. I'm here to point out a few things, and the fact of why his presidency is I won't say being threatened, and I won't even say that anybody will be able to do anything about it at this point in time, because it's basically being swept up under the rug. And what I mean by that is the whole Epstein Island thing, and the list of people that were on Epstein Island. It's been proven in pictures. We don't know if they were manufactured or anything of that nature, but for the most part, the pictures tend to point out that the President of the United States was in fact there, and a lot of other people was there. Now, there was a rumor going around that supposedly Israel had something against the President of the United States, so he changed his views on, the bombing of Iran. But like I'm not here to justify nor condemn that. This is a part of politics, and this is something that I don't get paid for, so it's way above the average individual's pay grade. But as far as like the president and the fact that he's pushing away from investigating it further. At first, he said certain things which led people to believe that he would somehow eventually confront it, but due to the fact of what's on the thing, it's now become a myth. Like when he was asked about it, he said something along the lines like, "Oh, people are still talking about that creep." So now, yeah, they're still talking about the creep, but people are starting to point out the fact that he seems to be wanting to pull himself away from not only knowing Epstein, but possibly taking part in certain things. And not to say like because it's not proven who on that island took part in anything. It could be this, they did a lot of fundraisers and things of that nature and charity on that island when it came to Epstein and I forgot her name. It's there, but it escapes me. But it's been proof that people did do a lot of charity on that island. So there's a lot of these stars that are being outed, the ones that are allowed to be outed in the paperwork. It's no real evidence that they took part in anything. Of course, the people that were actually victims in the whole thing, I think one of them has passed away, so her testimony is gone outside of what she's already put out there. But I'm sure there's a lot of information that a lot of people just didn't get, because I'm assuming after what happened to Epstein, she chose to withhold a lot of different things. But like I said, I'm not here to really condemn anybody. I'm just here to point out the fact that now that MAGA has come to the conclusion that Trump doesn't want to release the files, and seeing that they've always wanted to know exactly who was on that island and who took part in what, and they want the full, I won't say spectrum, but they want everything in order to come to their own conclusion. And the fact that Trump is refusing to release it and kind of trying to downplay it and act as if certain things didn't happen, a lot of his supporters, which I said the whole MAGA is somewhat imploding. And I know there's people that come on my channel and be like, "Oh, well, I'm still about MAGA," and there's nothing wrong with that. You as an American have the right to choose exactly which party you want to represent, which way you want to go, and you don't necessarily have to align with with anybody else on your way of thinking. This is why we have these particular freedoms. So by no means am I downplaying or being disrespectful to anybody that represents the MAGA party. I'm a firm believer in our president. Our president is just what it is. There's no way around it. Like, people rallied against and pushed back on Obama when he was president, regardless of who voted for him. It was at the end of the day, it stood the way it was because he was in fact the president of the United States. Now people are pushing back on Trump because his immigration and deportation laws are on the borderline of tyrannical, and people are giving him pushback on that. But this is what presidents do. They've been doing it since being in office, since the inception of, if you come here in a way that's not conducive to one that would come here in a way that was actually, I won't say legal, but through proper channels, you're gonna get deported. So that's why I kind of just stay out of the fray, because there's no arguments that I can really make. I can use the argument that about stolen land and all this, but then when you go through history, it would prove that there was no stolen land, that this land, if anything, was taken from the natives. But then it's a lot of different things, but I don't want to go down that rabbit hole because, like I said, it's not what the video's about. And I know I tend to go in circles, but that's just the way my brain thinks. Formulating thought is not a hard thing, but just focusing is another. You know what I mean? But that's just something I guess I was just born with. But the whole reason, like I said, I made this video was just to point out the fact, because I've been making videos about MAGA, and people have come to the conclusion that I hate them, but I don't like all of them, and I don't resent them. They made their choice. Like I said, a lot of us really have no right to disrespect anybody, like, because when the shoe is on the other foot and somebody says something about it, the other side tends to get extremely disrespectful about it. Even right now, people are being persecuted because their choice in president. But like I said, this is America, and you choose to vote the way you vote. But I'm more concerned for Trump's dwindling or corrosion of his of the party, like not so much the party but his movement, just because the way he chose to go about doing things. And I'm hoping somehow through the rest of his presidency he's able to turn around. 4 years is a long time, but now that they also they're pointing out the fact that he has health he has health problems, a disease, maybe I think it's cardiovascular or something with his veins, so that keeps him from that keeps his hands swollen, and it could possibly lead to a heart attack or a stroke. There's a lot of different things that's going on with Trump right now, and I'm hoping that through the course of it, they find some common ground when it comes to immigration and the laws of immigration, and really figuring out how to strengthen the country without causing so much division. Because at the end of the day, deportation is going to take place. The level of from which is the level of which is I'm all over the place. Sorry, my kids are. But the way it's being done is the reason why people are up in arms about it. But yeah, so when I say that about the MAGA party failing, this is what I'm talking about. The ones that are pushing for a probe into this whole Epstein list, and Trump refusing to not only acknowledge it, he's trying to pass it off as mere rumors started by the other side. And a lot of MAGA backers are not taking that lightly. They want to know who did what and who was there when certain things took place. And I think that's gonna be detrimental to him if he does refuse to present that list. And it's crazy, because I think both sides are straddling the fence when it comes to that, which only makes me think that there's a lot more people that have something to do with what was taking place on that island. But I'm not gonna go into conspiracy theories, but I will say this, Mr. Trump, the President of the United States, Commander-in-Chief, because we are patriots, I hope that you have a change of thought and that you do present the list to the people, at least to your, well, you have to do it to everybody, but at least do it because the people that back you need to see it in order for them to continue having faith in you. Yeah, people are not going to change their alliances like that. They're still going to consider him the Commander-in-Chief, because I can't persecute him just because he refused to release the list. But you'll have a lot of questions. Excuse me, allergies. You'll have a lot of questions, but that's why I say the party's failing, because not only is there infighting, not only is a strong division amongst MAGA, because like you say, you got brown, black, and other ethnicities all part of MAGA, but all being punished in some way or another. But now MAGA has moved so much away from being patriot to people just being outright racist and having no qualms about letting it be known, and even to other MAGA supporters, that they need to go back to their country and that they should be quiet, because there's always a chance that they could end up deported. And it's just it's a real show right now. But unfortunately, my allergies are going to continue to bother me, and like I said, if you want me to go into exactly what disease Trump is suffering from, I will dig deep and really give you the meat and potatoes of it. But for the most part, I just want to say that this is why the MAGA party is taking a hit, because a lot of people are not only at each other's throats, but the promises that were made were not necessarily being fulfilled for at least a few different people. Now, as far as the racist, yeah, this is right up their alley, because it is doing something essentially that they really wanted to do physically, but they couldn't because certain laws prevent it. But that's all I really say on that. For the people that support Za Vendetta TV, I do cover a lot of different things, not only politics, but with that being said, my kids are still going crazy, so I'm gonna have to go address that. But hopefully support the channel, hopefully subscribe, and give me some feedback on exactly if there's something that I got wrong or maybe misconstrued, you can tell me about. With that being said, I'm your boy Zod, and I will be back with another video soon.